I'm so happy to have you. I'm glad you said yes. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, so this is just a dream of mine that has manifested into fruition. Ashley, these stories are going to be shared with the world bit by
Mm,
bit. So something that you share, something that we talk about today is going to impact some young girl, some preteen, some girl in college, a grown woman, a woman in her 80s, 90s, whoever is to watch this. So it's your story. They
okay.
go wherever, they float all over the place, but the why comes back to the same mission, Ashley, which is really just for some young girl or woman to watch this and have a mindset shift, change future generations based on something that is heard, because there's power in storytelling. So thank you for sharing your story. So we're going to get started.
Yeah, you made it sound super great. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be a part of history. I'm down with that.
Yes, indeed, you are. So please introduce yourself, who you are, where you live, what you do, and why you said yes to sharing your body story today.
Well, hello. Thank you again for having me. My name is Ashley Coleman. I live in Washington, D.C. And I am a new mother. So I just had my little baby boy August 2nd, 2021.
Oh,
And I'm very excited to
congratulations.
thank you so much. Very excited to be a new mom and just learning so much more about life and motherhood and womanhood and all of those things through this journey. Originally from Kansas City, so I've been in Washington D.C. for going on 7 years now. So definitely, I think of Washington D.C. as my home.
Hmm.
And as far as what I do, my education is in social work. So I have a master's in social work and clinically licensed. And then I have been working in the field of HIV for the last 10 years and currently work for the DC Health Department on the city's initiatives for HIV prevention and intervention. So, love what I do, very passionate, and the work that I do deals with sexual health and deals with
Hmm.
different communities and empowering people to tell their stories. So this is something that's really cool. I get to be on the other side of this because usually I'm listening and writing things down and trying to make programs. So it's very cool to be able to tell my story and hopefully someone can be inspired by that.
Heck yeah. And you're doing such important work, Ashley. You truly are. Just the gift of listening and, just being very empathetic. So it's just an honor to have you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to start this like I start every single interview. What
Okay.
is your body story and where would you like to begin, Ashley? When you think of the body story question, where does your mind go right away? And we can just start there.
Yeah, it was really interesting when you actually sent the message asking for me to tell my body story. Because I was like, am I ready for that? Because I'm still learning where I'm at in my body now. And I was like, well, I guess that's important, right? You don't have to have kind of come all the way over to understand it to talk about it. You can just share where you're at presently. But
Yep.
yeah, I was a little skeptical, like, am I ready for am I ready for that conversation? Because I haven't, yeah, I haven't all the way had it with myself, but
A
I was
few
thinking
women, Ashley, felt the same way, so you're not alone. A few
like,
women
okay,
felt
well,
they said, and they were very honest about it.
yeah, yeah. I guess my body story you could start at when you're a teenager. I've been slender or, for the most part of my life, but even with not being what I would really think now. So now I
Okay.
don't, I was overweight, right? Because
Mm.
I've been pregnant. And
You.
I've had this, this beautiful belly,
Oh,
and
yes, you have.
really, and now Google Photos and Google Memories is so funny and disrespectful sometimes. They will go back 8 years and be like, "Remember when you thought you were fat then?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I wish I could
Oh,
go back to that fat.
oh, Ashley, I can't tell you how many women have shared that in
Yeah,
these interviews, that exact thing.
yeah, it really does, and it's really nice too because it's like, man, like I look back at those photos and I was like, I remember like dresses I didn't wear because I was
Mm.
waiting get to a certain point, like, you know what I mean?
Mm. What do you
Or
mean? What do you mean you didn't wear because at a certain point? What do you mean?
I buy clothes all the time, like, you know what I
Okay.
mean? Not all the time, but enough.
Yeah.
And I will wait to wear it when I get to my certain fitness goal, right? And then
Hmm.
before you know it, you're taking all these before pictures and you're not taking a lot of after pictures, right? They're still after,
Mm.
obviously, because you keep taking them every year at the beginning of the year. We're about to take another before picture, January 1,
Oh.
2022. But what I realized with going back to those photos is if I could tell myself, something back then, it's just wear the dress. You look great. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh.
Like,
Can I
go ahead.
ask the thinking about that at the time, Ashley? What was the thinking? Was it buy this as motivation? Did you ever wear the dress? Talk to me a little bit about that because I think that's a lot of women's body stories when it comes to clothes.
Yeah, I don't even know if I in the moment, like, and I don't know if online shopping changes things too, because when you're in the store, you see the dress, you might kind of walk past it, it looks cute, you might try it on, and then if it doesn't look good in the mirror, you put it back.
Yeah.
With online shopping, you have these beautiful bodies in this dress, and it's almost like you're buying the body too in your head,
Mm.
if that makes
Mm.
sense. So you see
Huh.
this woman with this beautiful body and shape and dress, and in your head, you don't even sometimes put two and two together that your body is different and unique in its own way. And so when you put it on,
Yes.
you have the image of what she looked like in it, and it doesn't. And you're like, I'm gonna do some more squats in the gym. I'm
Oh,
gonna do
and that's all intentional, Ashley. All of
yeah.
that's intentional. You know what it makes me think of? Because I got a catalog in the mail the other day. Do you ever remember? I don't know if your mom or aunties or women in your family would subscribe to those fashion catalogs. Like my mom would always get Spiegel. And I remember being a teen and a young girl looking at those fashion, being like actually thinking those clothes would never look like that on me. Like I wouldn't think ordering it thinking that it would be the total opposite. My mindset would be like I would never look like that in those clothes.
And mine was
Wow.
always, I just need to get in the gym and then I could look like that.
Wow, even the mindset we take. Wow, Ashley.
Let me wait, let me go ahead and buy it, let me wait, let me keep going to the gym, and then before you know it, year after year, you still got some dresses in there with tags on it. And it's like, I never did wear that. I never got back to that. I never circled around back to actually stepping out in that.
Does it
And
prevent you from doing it in the future? Like, does it prevent you from buying a future dress as like that's a goal to get into, or do you find yourself that you would still do it?
I don't even, yeah, I don't even know if it's conscious. This is me again going back and looking at Google Photos, right? So
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm doing it consciously and really and like had really really saw the pattern of it. You know what I mean? It was just recently I
Yes.
was like, man, like I remember trying that on and
Mm.
I was like, I don't even think I wore that. Or like, and maybe I took a picture of it to see if it looked cute or whatever. And then I'm just thinking about it now and like, man, there are dresses in there that I have not worn. And
Mm.
even now, I will say the same lie. Like, Ashley, as soon as you get your snapback, you're going to get into that dress. And it's like, get into the dress. Just,
Get into and you know what's funny? Clothes are such a part of our body story because I can think of specific things, Ashley, that I believe it or not am still quite self-conscious to naturally just put on. But I
yeah,
have these people in my life, friends, family, especially my mom and sisters, that are like, "Are you kidding me? Put it on."
yeah,
So it's like even to the like what outsiders might think, it really has to be your own thing. How you're just like, forget this quote unquote snapback, get
yeah.
into it.
Get
But
into
that
it.
is just it just shows like how we've almost told our own stories. Like, why are we this way? Why do we do these things?
I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know. It's like these weird, like goal lines that just keep moving, as you
Yes.
get older. And when I look back, like I was saying, I was like, I actually looked really, really great. And, I didn't see through the
Mm.
same lens that I'm seeing now as, who I am today. I was just always like, oh, look at this little, roll on the side. And I don't
Mm.
want that roll to be showing in my dress or, I wanted it to
Girl.
look as smooth as it did on the model. I wanted it to, all of that.
Yes. Oh gosh. I can think of so many like different things I would buy and I would put it on and I'm like, the lumps weren't showing when I bought this on when I saw
Yeah.
this. It just looks, it looked different, stuff that just didn't look pulled together. But now where I'm at right now, I'm just like, you really dressing your body for comfort and what just highlights the most beautiful parts of you. How are you feeling about that right now? Just giving birth. What are you loving in your
Yeah.
body right now, Ashley? Talk to us about that a little.
So every woman is different. When those who are, have been pregnant, I really loved my body pregnant. So
Mm.
it was a very beautiful experience to me. And that's not to downplay that I didn't get tired and all of this. I'm not talking about that piece of it, right? Because I was a pregnant woman in July, and so the heat and all of that
Girl, but you were
was there.
always glowing, Ashley.
Thank
Every
you.
time
I
I saw
appreciate
you,
that.
girl,
I
you
do
were
appreciate
just
that. But
loving
yeah,
it.
I really embraced it. So I really embraced my belly. I would wear things that show just all of that off, and
Mm.
I was just really proud of it. So and I for the most part I really tried to take care of myself. So I was
Yes.
at Coco boot camp in my second
Getting it. We was grooving with Amir.
yeah, yeah. My son's name's Amir, so Amir was in there kicking all of that. So I really embraced that, and even after having Amir, I still feel pretty good, honestly. So, I, of course, there's the term snapback and all of that. And of course, I want to get back to a healthy place. Not that I'm unhealthy. I want to get to a place where I feel really great, obviously, in anything that I put on. And I feel like I'm really getting there, especially now that I am able to be active and I've been
Mm.
cleared to do all that kind of stuff. So that's been great. But I still have my little roles and
Mm.
all of that. But it's just I just look at them a little differently. These
Okay.
roles came because I gave birth to a human being.
Yes. Oh, it's so, I mean, the mindset is everything, Ashley.
It
Wow, how
is,
beautiful.
it is, and what I think I've learned a lot through this journey is that my body wasn't built to just be really cute in a dress. That
Mm.
there is such
Okay.
there is such a divine purpose for this body that
Mm.
I had no idea that it was even capable
Mm.
of doing.
Wow.
So every stage, because they call this, the fourth trimester, which I would have just ended, right? But
Okay.
every stage of pregnancy, I would always be so shocked. I'm 36 now. I've never had a child. I've never been pregnant.
Yeah.
And when I got pregnant, my body, it was like it knew automatically what to do without any instructions, no manuals, no classes, no seminar. It just went right into gear
Wow.
to do what it was created to do.
Mm.
And every stage of what it was doing, so you get those little things from what do you expect, like, oh, your baby now has ears, or oh, your baby has lungs. I was like, how did my body even know to do this? How did they know to do this? I've been with this body all these years and we have never practiced this
Ever.
ever. This is his first time.
Brand new. It's like, I'm ready.
So,
Wow, Ashley.
and so, when you think about like it that way, I'm just like, oh my gosh, every stage is just doing its thing, doing its thing. And even in those stages when it is clearly doing its thing, I still am having doubts. Like, oh, like, am I
Mm.
gonna have issues with labor? Am I going to like be able to like make it through that? You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it's just, and then again, it's like it it works out. It's fine. Like I got through that part. My body like was there for
Wow.
me. It did its thing. Like it
How did
it
you coach? How did you talk to your body when those doubtful moments would come up when you would be like both mesmerized and fascinated with what it was doing, but also feeling doubtful? How did you talk to your body, Ashley?
I think I was the most nervous right before like going into labor because that's
Mm.
where everybody under the sun wants to tell you their labor story. and you have to and you have to be very protective over
Wow.
your peace, which I am a huge advocate of. And
Yes.
so, at a certain point, I was just like, okay, thank you. No, I don't want to hear any more labor stories. I think I'm ready to have my own, right? I think I'm ready for that. And
Let me
that's,
just do me.
yeah. But I was very nervous because all you hear about is pain and
Yes.
complications, and maybe I have to be rushed into an emergency situation or whatever, right? So that's the things that were coming
The
in.
sensational, I mean, just people, that's the sensational stuff people like to share is the negative. Yes.
Yeah. And I
Hmm.
was walking through Target. It was probably maybe 2 weeks or so before it was time for me to deliver. And I was walking through Target. I was super pregnant, good old in July, in my, little jumpsuit, probably just full belly. So, there's no mistaking it. And this girl walked up to me and she was like, "Oh my gosh, when are you due?" And I was like, "Oh, I mean, any day, really." She's like, "I just had my baby last week." And she's like, super, you wouldn't have never even thought she had a baby. So
Okay.
I was like, "Okay." And she was like, "Just know that your body knows what it's going to do. And just be," I was like, "Where did you come from?"
Now
She literally,
that's look at God just being like, doop, doop.
yes, really. And just she
Wow.
walked up to me. She said, "Your body will know what to do. Just trust your body. Everything will be fine." And she just walked back off into the universe of telling good things to people. You never see her again, right? You never see her again.
That's probably
And
what she needed to hear, or she was
yeah,
an angel. That is
it,
that is a story, Ashley.
it was really great. So after
Wow.
that, I mean, I wouldn't say that all of my fear left, but to answer your question, I stopped putting any more fear into me. So I was just
Mm.
working with what had already been deposited and like trying to clear those things out and then not adding anything more to it. Like, and just
Oh.
kind of like made peace with, I know that I'm going to get on the other side of this. So I also had a
Mm.
very supportive partner who just kept reassuring me every day. But of course, he's a man. And so, him being like, "You're going to be fine." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, but I'm the one pushing the baby out." So then there's that. So,
Oh, look at him
but yeah,
on the
so
side
after,
doing his best, supporting his
right.
gal.
Yes, it's true. He did a great job. And then even after the delivery, I started doubting whether I breastfeed. So I made that choice to breastfeed. And am I going to make enough milk? Am I going to be
Mm.
able to feed my baby enough? Am my baby, you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, am I going to need to switch to formula? And is that okay? Like, you know what I
Mm.
mean? In this whole
Wow.
motherhood world, there's so many messages about what you should or shouldn't do, and you feel guilty if you don't do what other people are doing that's more like this natural or holistic approach, and you're like, well, maybe I can't do it, not because I don't want to, but because maybe I can't. You just all these it's just so many different thoughts
Hmm.
and fears. You really have to like take time to quiet it all and just be like, what
Yes.
decision makes the most sense for you? What are you able to do, and what do you want to do? And then trust your body that it will be aligned with that, and go with the flow with if it's not exactly the plan that that you originally want, and that be okay, like, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So every time
Wow,
someone asks me like,
Ash.
"Are you breastfeeding? Are you breastfeeding? Are you doing this? Are you going to have a natural birth? Are you going to do an epidural? Are you going to do a water birth?" I'm like, I am going to deliver a healthy baby,
Mm.
and I'm going to feed him to make sure he is strong.
And isn't it incredible? Actually, like part of my fascination with these body stories is I want to hear from women what are all the messages that they're getting from the outside world about their bodies. So to
Yeah.
hear a fresh mother with this experience so fresh on your mind, still in the act of right before giving birth, still having everybody giving their fresh opinions about your body. It's really it's quite incredible. So how do you what's your strategy for quieting up everybody else's opinion about your body and where you should be right now with it, and how you actually honor where you are, Ashley? What's working for you right now?
Um, you know, I think you find a tribe that is aligned too with where you're going,
Mm.
and that helps
Support.
with encouragement and reassurance. Really, really more about reassurance. This is where I'm at. Not so much um do I want to do it? Am I motivated to do it? But really more like, am I capable of doing it?
Mm.
And that I am capable. And that's really what I need in this stage. It's just Ashley, you're fine, or this is normal, or just keep doing it this way, and
Mm.
and all of that. So um
You mentioned something a couple times that I'm curious about that I've heard a little about through like my mother, like mother circles, this snapback idea. Because there's a lot of catchphrases and stuff that's out, but snapback has been one. And as I've been, doing my own body story development with this project, just paying real close attention, especially celebrities, people that are in the spotlight that recently gave birth or are coming out with their stories, and just the image, with their bodies literally almost being back to how it was before their baby or stronger.
yeah.
And I'm not a mother yet, Ashley, but I am very in tuned and constantly obsessed with the body. So I
Hmm.
paused and I thought, like, how would I feel fresh after giving birth with this idea of this snapback? Would I feel pressured? How would I absorb this? Would I take on this? Would I feel the need to get stuff like, talk to me a little bit about, and it came up for me again yesterday. I'm a Peloton rider, and on Instagram, they were celebrating Robin. She was running across, she completed her marathon, and I'm just like, she's such a motivator and an inspiration to so many people in Peloton. But I do wonder if people that are kind of the exceptions and can just really get their athletic body right back like that, how that makes other women feel that may not move that quickly. 3 months, 6 months, a year. Talk to me about your mindset on this snapback culture a little bit.
I don't know that it was a real super goal to be a part of the snapback culture. I was really hyper focused on whether I was going to breastfeed and the delivery.
Mm,
That was really where my mind was at. So I didn't really subscribe to a lot of the things that would contribute to that type of pressure, and I think that's probably good. Early on, someone told me not to follow every mommy page.
mm. Why do you think they gave that advice?
Because there's so many different opinions, so many different and people. And let me say this too: I don't think that in anyone that I've encountered has ever tried to do it intentionally to make me feel bad
Hmm.
or shamed or guilt.
Yep,
A lot of pressure and all of those feelings a lot of times comes from really good intentioned people, right?
absolutely.
um,
Yep.
and they don't even know that what they're saying as maybe as advice or as things that are good for you are actually making you feel some sort of anxiety
Hmm.
about it, because
Hmm.
maybe it's the third time you've heard it in a week and you think it's some sort of sign that you're supposed to be doing it that way.
Very good point. Very good point.
But and so there's part of the responsibility on the person that's receiving those messages to say, this is a lot, thank you for your advice, but I think that's probably where I could probably end with that. And I think I've received enough from you. However you need to say it in that moment. Everyone knows how they
Done. We're
can. Yeah,
done.
yeah. If you were someone who's a blunt person, then you can give them
Ah,
a blunt message. And if someone's softer, you can give a softer
oh,
message.
you're so tactful. I love it, Ashley. That's great.
But yeah, so with the snapback thing, I wasn't as concerned about it either, because
How
I
are you
worked
feeling
out.
now with it? Like,
I
where's
feel
your mindset
pretty
now?
good. But again, so I hope that my story doesn't make anyone feel pressured to snap back. And you can probably hear my son in the background.
He's
So sorry.
ready for mommy. Mommy
Yeah.
better bust out the boobies.
But I did lose my baby weight within the first couple months.
And I'm telling you, Ashley, we talked about this at boot camp. My mom swore up and down. That's how she
Breastfeeding.
lost all her weight with all four of us was from breastfeeding. And
Yeah.
every woman's body's different, but that was always her go-to talking point.
Yep. Breastfeeding, again, so let me just say this, because I know how I felt when everyone was talking about this when I was on the other side of it. This is my journey, and I hope no one feels pressure or feels any anxiety with me talking about it. But breastfeeding has so many benefits, and one of them is that it when you're breastfeeding, you are burning calories.
Hmm.
So I started right off the top. My son was in the NICU for about 3 days. So he was on formula for about 2 or 3 days. But
Okay.
after that, then he's been breastfed for the remainder up to this point. And so within probably the first 30 to 45 days, I probably lost 20 pounds. I only gained about 27,
Wow.
and so I'm now right back kind of where I was at pre-pregnancy. However, even when you lose that weight, your body is still just different in the way that
Mm.
it is the weight is distributed. So I still
What
have,
did you notice about your body, Ashley? Now that you've been approved to be back physical, you were at boot camp recently. What'd you notice
I
in your
lost my
body when you worked
I
out?
lost my little booty. I never had a big one, but I'm gonna have to do a lot of squats now. I don't have a little booty anymore like I used to. Um,
Okay.
I still kind of have like these little, I don't know what to call it, but it's just like where you can definitely tell like that's where your body had
Mm,
expanded and the skin is just soft and
okay.
squishy. So, just that. But like last night I was in a full, little cute jumpsuit. I went to a concert and
Okay.
you know, yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, I was gonna wear a little turtleneck. I said, you know what? That's what coats are made for. So go ahead and wear the cute something underneath, and you can put the coat on top of it. But
Yes, girl. Oh, I love
yeah,
it. Oh man. So can I ask about your breastfeeding experience a little bit more? Because I've heard different, like, because some as a woman that is not breastfed yet, I think it's really important that women just in general are looking at their bodies, especially
yeah.
for the sizes, the proportion, when you study your nipples and kind of feeling for things. I think it's just deeply, deeply important. So I do look at my breasts and my nipples quite often, the color. So I have thought, because when I was a teenager, my mom had my youngest sister when I was 13, and I would love to watch my mother breastfeed her. I would
Hmm.
love to watch how Tasia would like hook onto my mom's nipple and the relaxation that she would kind of like almost fall into as the baby being fed. But my
Yeah.
mom, she never complained really of how the pain or how it felt with having her actually. What is that sensation like for you? How is your body adapted to that? Does it, because some women do not breastfeed because of the pain. So I'm curious about your experience.
Well, yeah, just what you described. Breastfeeding is a beautiful bond that
Mm.
is just indescribable, something that only the mother and the child share.
Mm.
That's unique to the mother. Fathers and their child will have a different bond but this is something that just mothers can share with their babies.
Mm.
And it is very much just what you just said. Like as soon as like Amir latches on, it is his lifeline. Like it is the
Mm.
bonding with his mom, it is his nourishment, it is what I jokingly say in the house, his fountain of life. He is, I mean, he will breastfeed exclusively, no food, and for 6 months. Here he comes in all his
Oh, is
glory.
he hungry?
But
Are we gonna
he
get
will
some
breastfeed
live
for a
body
six.
story action? Are we gonna get some
I
live
know.
body story
This is
action?
what the body has created. Where did the body create? Oh my goodness. But
Oh,
he
does he
low
want to get in mama's arms?
oh, I know. He low key needs a breast now. But if you can maybe put a bottle, but I pump too.
Oh
Yeah,
my God. Do you have the little bottles all in the refrigerator? Girl, my mom,
I,
I remember
so
that
much
so
to look
well.
in. Yeah, it is. But yeah, sorry to interrupt the interview like that. But yeah, so it is all of that. But in the
Mm,
beginning, it's not, when you're adjusting to it, it is painful. It is. It just, I
mm.
don't know how else to say, because your nipples are this soft, sensitive.
Yes, girl,
Um,
because I can think of a couple experiences just from a grown man where I'm like,
yeah,
ooh, and a baby.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, and I remember at one point I was talking to a friend of mine who is older, has two children, and I was just like, I don't, I think I'm just gonna pump. I don't think I'm gonna do the actual latching anymore because it's just too much. This is within the
Mm,
first month, and
yeah.
she's like, I know it hurts,
Mm.
but every time you stop, it's like you're giving your nipples a chance to kind of heal back up. And then when you go to put him back on it again, it's going to be sore all over again. She's like, you
Mm.
kind of have to get over this hump. She's like, I know it feels, this is what she said, it feels like a dull butter knife that is like kind of not, it was a horrible explanation.
Oh gosh,
I
I'm
didn't
sitting
say
here
she was,
like through.
I didn't say she was great with the explanations, but she was like, once you get over that, then you're fine.
Okay.
And so I just stuck with it. And now, like, if I wasn't on camera, right, I could just boop and I wouldn't, you don't feel it like that anymore.
Yeah,
It's
you
just,
just because you've been doing it so often.
yeah,
Wow. Do you ever
it's
think, because even just as a woman hearing this, and I pray that I get to, I know it sounds what you're describing, a butter knife, but I pray I get to experience my little butter knife experience.
I know, I hate that that's the only, I mean, that's what she told me. And at first I was
You know
like,
what?
oh, goodness.
I think about this sometimes, and I just wonder from a spiritual perspective, from just however, whatever lens you want to take this from, Ashley. Do you ever think about all of the things that we as women with our bodies actually have to go through in comparison to men? Does this ever cross your mind as a woman in your body
Does it
story?
ever cross my mind? Every day it crosses my mind, every single day.
Girl, isn't
It,
it
it,
unbelievable?
we are phenomenal beings, divinely created and designed. Yes, the breast milk feeds the
Mm.
baby, but what I've also learned in breastfeeding is that the backwash from their saliva goes back into our body. Our body examines that saliva, sees if there's anything else that the breast milk needs, and then is customizes and tailors this breast milk for this baby to make sure
Oh
it's
my.
addressing everything that the baby needs.
That is so
Sometimes
impressive.
sometimes when my baby is crying and it's about time to feed him, my breast will start to also tingle, and we're not even connected yet. It's just it just hears it, and it's vibing. It's just phenomenal. I don't even know how to explain it. And then
Oh,
you literally feel the milk like coming kind of down, what they call like a letdown or a release, and you can feel the milk, like, and you can hear your baby like swallowing the milk. It is crazy. And to think that my baby has not eaten any food and is
mm.
alive for 3 months only because he has been attached to me, and I
Oh.
am, like, women's bodies are phenomenal.
Girl.
It's crazy. Like, I delivered the baby out of my
I
vagina.
mean, like
And I keep
all his
thinking,
little
oh,
limbs, everything formed in there.
everything. He has 10 toes and 10 fingers, and he's just a human being. I'm
Mm.
a woman that created a man. How do we, you would think maybe we can only create women. That's all the parts that we have. I created a penis. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who
Oh,
if
it's
men
so
can say that, if
special.
men can say that they can create vaginas, then we might have, maybe an argument. But I feel like there's nothing that they can say. I will win every time. I'll win the argument every time.
Every time,
Every
hands
time.
down. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, Ashley. Wow, girl. What a beautiful perspective. And I feel selfish, like I need to get you back to Amir, but I just thank you for saying that, Ashley, because you're hearing you talk about this. I'm on the other end, just like, gosh, we go through a lot. Even
A
just
lot.
the fact that we have a period every month. Every
Yeah.
month, it's just a coming. The build
Yeah.
up to it, the during it, and then the stuff after. Just literally every month for years. It's just, and then even the fact of knowing when that comes, it's like now you're actually able to become a mother. It's just constantly. And that's why I think these stories are so important, Ashley, because when you see the gift of our bodies and what they can do, when you know that you're treating them well, just in what you feed it, how you move it, how you speak to it, it makes these incredible systems that our
Yeah.
bodies just built to do just flow easier
Yeah.
because we're loving on us and we're appreciating and we're talking about this because gosh, we're awesome.
Yeah. It's really phenomenal. And like I said, it's a whole newfound
Wow.
appreciation that, you just don't know. And I just didn't know. You know what I mean? And whether a woman decides to have a child or not, whether a woman is capable of having a child or not, or capable of breastfeeding or not, it
Yeah.
doesn't take away from the beautiful design of
Mm,
our body and what we do with it every day. You know what I mean? So
listen.
it's just magical, because you're
It,
right. It doesn't, and even with this body, as
mm,
I'm delivering babies out here, breastfeeding, I'm still taking walks with this same body. I'm still going to happy hour with this same body and dressing this
yes.
body up and loving my friends and
Mm,
loving my partner with this same body. And
mm.
it's just, it's just a beautiful, women are just beautiful in general, and we do so much, and we should
Mm.
be celebrated all the time.
Oh,
Um and
yes,
it
girl.
is so sad when I go, not sad, I hate to use that word, but it is just like, man, if I could go back, if we go back to the
Mm,
beginning of this conversation and talk to that younger Ashley
mm.
who wasn't even, like trying to wear a dress. I'm like, girl, do you know that your body can create humans? Forget that dress.
Yes.
On. You're like, well, oh, I don't know if I want to show this much cleavage or whatever your decision was showing
Oh,
cleavage or not. That cleavage will provide life to another human being
yes.
potentially. If
Oh,
that's your decision. You know what I'm saying? It's
yes.
these
Oh,
different parts of us is should be celebrated, and every part of us is created for this reason. Like, it's not just for us
yes.
to be looking cute, although it's
Yes.
great, but it
Yes.
actually has a purpose, it has a reason, and it's just phenomenal. I mean, being a woman has always been a pride of mine, and I think it's just to a whole nother level now. So like I say, I feel like I can win any argument with a man at this point. But um
Oh, Ashley.
you
And
love
I love your words you've left to younger Ashley. And I think that's a beautiful closeout to what would be words of wisdom you would leave with a young teenage girl, a girl in college, and 20 something that's watching this, to the younger generation behind you? What would you want to leave them with as they think about maybe their own personal body story?
yeah. You're only that age once.
Mm,
um and there's no regrets in life, right? You can always circle back and do different things, but embrace the different stages and the different chapters that you're in. You don't get to really go back to those different chapters. So
yes.
wherever you're at in that moment, whether you are full figured, whether you feel like you're too, I think one thing we don't talk about is women who feel like they're too thin, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
appreciating, like themselves for that, like they want more curves. And I think that's a
Yeah,
big thing that's happening right now.
it is.
Wherever you're at in that chapter, like embrace it. It's like a hairdo. Like you can change it up later. You know,
Yes.
but you don't want to look back on all these chapters that
Mm,
you're like, I'm not going to do this chapter 23 because I'm not where I want to be. And then now you're
mm.
chapter 32 and you never lived in any of the chapters of 20s. Like you never
Oh,
really
girl,
did
yes.
anything in that. You know what I mean? And now you're trying to kind of circle back and do that. And that's fine. Like if you've had the epiphany and you're trying to go there. But man, it would have been great to just try it out. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
just go ahead and embrace that for that time. I think that's what I would tell myself at that time. Like go ahead and wear the dress. Go ahead
Yes.
and step out and just be proud of what you do have, because the body is carrying you day after day. It's
Mm,
taking you classes, it's taking you to the store from place to, you know what I mean? And I know
yeah.
we don't, it's kind of like, yeah, it's not a big deal, but people are laid up and not able to walk, not able
Mm,
to move because of illnesses or whatever. And if you
yes.
have an able body that's,
Yes,
able to
girl.
do these things, then you have another day to make it whatever you want to make it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I would just say love yourself and all of that, and just embrace the chapter that you're in.
Ooh, did tell. Ooh, I love it all. You were just talking to little Coco, teenage Coco. I was listening, I was taking it all in. Oh, Ashley, thank you so much for
Thank
sharing your
you for
body
having me.
story and congratulations on being a new mom.
Oh,
It's
thank
incredibly
you.
inspiring, especially to women who crave motherhood and look forward to it as a part of our story. So thank you for sharing yours today. I appreciate you so
So
much.
much. And of course, right when it ends, Amir is quiet. So he's like, okay, I think mom's coming back. I'll be quiet now. But thank
Oh,
you so much
hun.
for having me. I'm one of your biggest fans. I think you're awesome. And I know that this whole initiative that you're doing with the body stories is going to be amazing. So thank you for letting me be a part of that. I appreciate it.
Thank you for saying yes. I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Bye.